Hey Math 2 students, this is Mr. Flynn again. This is for April 8th, okay? And this is your practice for Wednesday. I want you to know there's going to be a quiz on Thursday, all right? So you have to take that on Canvas like you've been doing. A couple things. Number one, please start submitting your assignments. I see a lot of you are working. Some of you are submitting, some are not. Finished or not, just submit it. I want to see the work that you're practicing on, okay? So this is going to be a review for the quiz. I know yesterday's video was quite long, so I'm going to try to make this a little shorter and not do too much for you. Couple other things. Third period class. We are going to have a Zoom meeting Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. Probably around 9 a.m. I'll send out the invite for that Zoom meeting. For our Math 2 8th, 9th period, okay? That's Math 2 Prep. We're going to have a Zoom meeting on Thursday at 10:30. I'll put that in the notes for tomorrow as well, so you have it. All right, so please make sure you're looking for that. Again, that Thursday meeting, I'll probably send out the invite around 10 a.m., okay? All right, so I hope to see you guys there. So first off, notice that problems 1, 2, 3, and 4 are simplifying. We're either going to subtract, let's see here, subtract our polynomials or add our polynomials. And if you remember, all right, when we're subtracting, this subtraction basically just distributes itself to everything in here, okay? So we can rewrite it. I'll make this a little bigger so it's easier to see. 2a squared minus a minus 7a to the third. Nothing happens to the front, okay? Nothing happens to that front polynomial. But this subtraction sign changes the sign of everything in here. So we have negative 4a, negative 2a to the third, negative 8a squared. And now we just collect the like terms. Now we've done this quite a bit, but again, I just want to review with you. We have an a to the third term. We have an a squared term we can collect. And then let's do another one. We have the a term. So those are all put together separately and strung together. Usually we use the highest exponent. That's our highest degree. So I'll stay in blue here. So with 7a to the third, and that's a negative 7a to the third, minus 2a to the third gives us negative 9a to the third. So those are done. You can cross them out. Some people like to do that. Then I'm going to do the a squared. So I have a positive 2a squared and a negative 8a squared. When I put that together, I get a negative 6a squared. We're done with those. And then last we have the negative a and the negative 4a. Put that together, it's negative 5a. That's your answer. All right? No problem. Real quick, I'm not going to do this one, but when you have addition, all these in here, keep the same sign. Drop the parentheses, rewrite them all out, and then collect like terms. All right? Just like you did here. All right? So you can practice those. Finding the product, okay? Now when we're doing the product, what I like to do, and we did this in class a while ago, is take that first one here, 5x squared plus x minus 1. Put the other one below it, 4x minus 1, and then stack it and do your multiplication. All right? So negative 1 times negative 1 is a positive 1. Negative 1 times x is a negative 1x. Negative 1 times 5x squared is a negative 5x squared. Then we're going to do the next one, 4x, and we're going to multiply it here. 4x times negative 1 is a negative 4x. We'll put it into the x column, negative 4x. Positive 4 times positive 4x times x is a positive 4x squared. And then 4x times 5x squared is 20x to the third. and then add straight down. We have a positive 1, negative 1x plus a negative 4x, negative 5x, negative 5x squared plus 4x squared is a negative 1x squared. If you don't put that 1 on there, that's okay. And then there's no x to the third, so we just bring that to 20x to the third, and that's our answer. Okay? I'll let you do number 6. And then the tough part here is these are now all simplifying your exponent rules. Remember when we have a variable, we'll do number 8. Like when we have a variable on top and bottom, an A on top and an A on bottom, a B on top, B on bottom. Number 1, in the end, all our exponents need to be positive. Okay? So we need to figure out how to get these all to be positive. The 4/3 here, if that was like 4/8, we could reduce that to 1/2. But since it's 4/3, that's going to be the same. So that 4 and that 3 never change. Now we just got to figure out where the A and the B goes. So what you do, all right, when you're doing division, remember that fraction bar is really division. All right. You take the exponent. So we have a 3, we have a negative 2. All right. And what you do is you take the largest one, which is the positive 3, and we're going to subtract, because it's division, and we're going to subtract the negative 2. And that actually, if you do it on your calculator, gets you a positive 5. That means the A will have a positive 5 as an exponent, and it'll be on top, because the largest one, the largest A was on top, A to the third. So it becomes A to the 5th. Then the B's, okay, we have a negative 2 and we have a negative 3. And negative 2 is larger than negative 3. So you take negative 2 minus negative 3, and that gets us a positive 1. So the B will have a positive 1 as an exponent. The largest one was on top again, so B stays on top with 1. So we can rewrite this as 4 A to the 5th B over 3. Looks a little nicer. If you want to put the 1 up there, you can. You can do the rest of the division, but then we have a couple where number 11, number 12, where you're raising exponents to exponents. All right, so here it's really 2 to the first power, n to the third power, raised to the 0 power. Whenever we're raising a power to a power to a power, we distribute it in to the exponent. So that 2 becomes 1 times 0. This is that 1 times 0 is 0. And 3 times 0 is 0. And then if you recall, anything, a 0 power equals 1. So n equals 1, or 1 times 1 is 1. That one's simplified down quickly, okay? So over here, you do the same thing where you distribute in, but if you have negative exponents, you got to move them from top to bottom, okay? Now you got to look back at your notes, because there's only 2 of those. I'm not going to do them both for you. You do it, check the key at the bottom. Last but not least, now we're doing all factoring, okay? So we have a whole section of factoring. You either have a binomial, 2 terms, a trinomial, 3 terms, or a 4 term. All right? Each one, look for the greatest common factor, and then look to factor. A binomial, there's only one special case, and that's a difference of squares. And we'll see one there. The trinomial will always factor down to 2 binomials, and the 4 term we factor by grouping. Okay? So, right away in number 13, we got a greatest common factor of a 3. And if I divide a 3 out of here, I am left with n squared. If I divide a 3 out of here, I'm left with a positive 12n. And if I divide a 3 out of there, let's see, that's 35. So now I have to do my trinomial factoring. So I take my 35, list the factors, 1 and 35, 3, 5, and 7. There we go. So the signs of the last one is positive. So both the factors will be the same sign. And the sign in the middle tells me they're both positive. Which two give me the positive 12 in the middle? Right there. So we don't take our 3 off. That comes from here. And that's x, or I should say, I'm sorry, n plus 5, n plus 7. And you factor, okay? We've done quite a bit. You should be getting pretty good at that. Number 15 is a binomial. There's no greatest common factor. And then we have to look to see if it's a difference of squares. So that's a perfect square. And 64 is a perfect square because that's 8 times 8. So it's 8 squared. So this becomes r minus 8 and then r plus 8. And the reason why that happens is we can put the r squared plus a 0r term minus 64. And again, you list your factors to 64, and we know that they're both different signs, and when added together, give you 0. That's a positive 8 and a negative 8. Okay? So really, I have r plus the 8 from here and r minus the 8 from here. And that was a special case we went over. Let me see here. I think I have a couple of the 4 term. And in 4 term, we factor by grouping. Remember, you group the first 2, you group the second 2. Don't put that sign in yet. We're going to talk about that. So in the first group, we can factor out a 4n squared. Okay? And then that leaves 28 divided by 4 is 7. N to the third divided by n squared is n. And then 20 divided by 4 is 5, and n squared. Okay? Divided by n squared comes out. Now this sign tells us we're going to factor out a positive number, and it looks like we're going to factor out a 5. And so what's left on the inside, hopefully it'll be the same as this. 35 divided by 5 is 7n, and that negative 25 divided by 5 is negative 5. That's the first step. Then we see that we have this the same, so that 7n minus 5 comes out, and that leaves 4n plus 5, or 4n squared plus 5. And we're done. Okay, we've done enough of those. So the only thing that you're going to do down here now is we're going to solve. And remember, you factor first and set each factor equal to 0. All right? So in this one, we have a 6, which is a 1 and a 6, a 2 and a 3. The signs are different. That means this one tells me the sign of the larger one. So these are negative, these are positive. Which two add together give us this negative 1x right there. So I get x plus 2, x minus 3 equals 0. Set that equal to 0 and solve. X plus 2 equals 0. X equals negative 2. And then set that one equal to 0 and solve. X minus 3 equals 0. X equals 3. So my answer is x equals negative 2 and 3. Okay? And you can practice these. And there's a key down here. There's going to be a quiz on Thursday, all right? And remember your Zoom meetings. Third period will be Wednesday at 9:30, so I'll send that out tomorrow. And then our 8-9 period, our Zoom meeting will be Thursday at 10.